Wow, isn't that powerful? Oh, it was so powerful. Lillian, you really, really took us to a special place. I'm Maria Trice Jenkins, and I will be moderating this Talkback. Lillian, please join us. How many times have you seen it?
So many times now, yeah.
Do you have the same reaction every time you see it?
Yeah, I still feel like it holds up after like many rewatches and like the hours and hours I did making the project. So like, yeah, it's just like the emotions hit you, I feel, almost every time, and you just walk away with this warm feeling of like, life isn't going to be perfect, but there's gonna be an okay in the end, right?
What made you decide to do this particular script? Or how did the script come to you, and what was that process like?
I mean, at this point, I've been an actress for a while, so it was the normal route of the manager getting you out the audition, but it's one of those projects that they were looking for an autistic actress to play this role, and it was like, when I talked to them, they were not going to do the project if they could not find an autistic person to play this part. And yeah, I'm just so honored and grateful that I got to be the person telling this story, because I thought it was beautiful and incredible from the moment I read it, because I've auditioned a lot and I've seen a lot of scripts, and being disabled, so rough what's out there, and this was one that I was like, I don't have to change much to, like, this was like a really good representation of autism, and I wanted it. I felt
it really was. It was very powerful.
Yeah.
And the unique part was they never even used the word.
No.
That was really special, particularly when the mother was trying to make sure that the manager of the job understood what type of person he was dealing with. It was just, how did that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, going back and forth, like, autism is not a dirty word. Disability is not a dirty word. It's not wrong to not say it. It's not wrong to say it. Like, it's definitely a choice on this project. Yeah, that they didn't want to say it. They also didn't want to say the word cancer.
Yes.
Right? She gave specifics, and it came up a little bit, but like, it was something to like really focus on the story itself, and it wasn't about the specific disability and the specific sickness. It was supposed to be something that like anyone could find themselves in these sort of positions and feelings and experiences. So we didn't want to focus too much on very specifics, even though like it does come up, they are individual characters and there are specifics, but it was about the feelings and the emotions and the telling a story of like someone who doesn't feel like they have a place in this world and can't find it, and like nothing's quite perfect for them, but they can still like feel like there is a place, and eventually they'll find it, and eventually.
Well, that's the beauty of autism.
Like, yeah,
that they don't give up. They stick to who they are in the most difficult situations. They're going to be who they are. They never conform. They find it the whole time. What did you find most difficult in doing this, or the scenes that were the hardest? Like, we all felt very heavy at the end because it was dealing with just the loss of a mother and all the different aspects of what that means to a person with autism. As a mother of autistic people, it was very powerful for
when
me.
we got to just like sit and be in the emotions, I think that was like the easiest part of the script for me. For me, it was so tough that like, if you notice the way it's shot, it's not shot close up. It's in long takes, but we had to get it perfect, like through long scenes. That was tough. The hobby horsing itself, like I was cantering and jumping, and like my body was sore. And for me, the karaoke was the scariest stuff for me. I am not a singer, and I had to hit those emotions, and those were like pinnacle moments
Mm-hmm.
that got you to the important parts, and I had to hit happy singing, and then that total breakdown,
Yes.
right? And those were the toughest for me. You know.
How was it developing your relationships with the other actors?
They were a gift. I love the people who were cast. Gretchen is a beautiful woman, and so happy that she was willing to like really go there with all of it. To like, because I said it was really tough for them to find someone who was willing to be ugly, right? Which she's not. She's beautiful throughout it. But you know, like to like put on that, shave her head and like have that sick gaunt look, and like to really dive into that sickness
really be that actor.
and really go there. Like it was amazing. And building a relationship with her, like we were talking, that it's not a perfect relationship, and like mothers and daughters, like like there's such a love there, but like it's tough. And when it's just the two of them and there's no one else in the family to give each other a break, like we wanted to show how tough that is, but how you always got each other's back, and there's a love through that anger and that that yelling at each other and that getting angry at each other. It's because it's safe, and the other person is never going to leave, no matter what you say or what you do.
How similar is her relationship in the movie to your relationship with your mother?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely similarities and there's differences. My mom is, she's the strongest woman I know, and she, for sure, very similarly was a warrior for me growing up, and still is. She will fight every battle for me. But I think my mom found it a lot easier to let me be an adult, make my own choices, and was willing to let me fail on my own and come to her when I needed support. Where this character had a much harder time doing that and didn't want to let go of that control.
How much of Lillian is in Margarita? Or how much is Margarita in Lillian?
So there's a mixture of things so Margarita was it or is based on some Marguerite, who's a real person. I met with her and with the director and writer, and we really talked about the pieces of Marguerite that we really wanted to get right and put in there. And then there's little pieces of me in there, because as an actor, all of that stuff comes from somewhere. So I never experienced the loss of a parent like that, so none of that stuff is real. But I've experienced loss, and I could find places to go. But I've experienced not having friends, being rejected by people, the struggle, speech impediment definitely came. She has a speech impediment, but I had that growing up, and I worked very, very hard to not have it. So that was something that letting that go and really letting my body not work so hard and find that was a cool thing to show that, because I feel as an autistic girl especially, that when you have those speech impediments and the way I present, it's not so much seen as a disability, it's seen I'm acting like a baby, I'm immature, and I'm treated, infantilized like a child. And to show a version of that where she is treated like a full adult, to show the world that is a true adult, even with these childlike features.
But also
cool.
almost like a tick, that little aspect, she always consistently responded the same way. Either when she was cursing when she was mad, or just the way her body language, you did that so well. It really told a story. To be able to choose to do that as an actor and stay consistent in the film.
For sure. Finding the way she moved through the world, as Marguerite herself struggles a lot more physically than I do, but I do have some physical stuff. So I found the things that I struggled with the most, and really tried to focus and exaggerate those things to keep that a part of me throughout the whole thing, because I do find myself more capable of doing things than this character physically. But yeah.
What was your process like? How did you develop? How did you get ready, prepare for the role, and then also was there a lot of improv involved?
Yeah, it was a mixture of those things. So there was like a couple of Zoom meetings where I really talked to Margarita and Sandy and got to know her experience and her mom's experience of her autism and how she moved through the world and what she felt she really wanted portrayed. And then I was given this footage that her sister had filmed of her to show the way that she walked and talked and acted. And like I pulled the pieces that I felt I could make the most believable, as well as finding within myself. I was like, so I like to stim this way and do this, and this is the most like natural for me.
And for those of you who don't know, stemming is a repetitive behavior that autistic people have. So sometimes they say the same word over and over again, or they just physically move a certain way. So and in the movie, you were so consistent with that throughout. That was very
finding
impressive.
Those like specific things, and then just like really focusing on the emotions and what that would feel like in my body, and asking that about Marguerite of like when you felt that grief, when you felt that like how did that manifest in your body, and how did people react to the way you did it. And it was like really talking about like that stuff, because I do feel like autistic people experience and show emotion very differently, but grief is a really hard one. And I think we are judged so often because the way we portray grief is not breaking down crying in the usual way. And like the way she was like, I want to go to my competition, and we were like very careful. We wanted to show that that was grief, that she had to fulfill this competition in honor of her mom, and it wasn't that she was like, I don't care that my mom died.
No. And you did that very well. I saw that. I could see that would deliver you in that moment, and that was a deliberate acting choice. That was very powerful. How did you identify with her mother's, the anxiousness in the movie? How did you deal with the actor getting anxious towards her death? And what did that do to you as an actor? You know, in terms of you making choices with that. Because that was hard. Yeah, so as I said, I've not lost a parent like that. But the thought, for anyone with a child, and especially with a disabled child, I think the worst fear of a parent is like, will they be okay without me? Yeah. And so that was like a lot of talking with parents of like finding out their fears to come from a place, how do I comfort those fears? Because I think that was the most important part of this, is like, yes, the support isn't going to be perfect. It might be worse than before, but I think if you raised them correctly and did your job as a parent, they should be okay without you, right? And like, so working on that and finding a way for me to represent that, yes, there's worry there, and I think this is the same with like every stage of life, and I tried to focus on that. Like when I graduated high school and I moved out and I'm living on my own, I was like, so that's a very similar thing, not as extreme, but how was I feeling in those moments, and how could I take that and exaggerate it tenfold, while also knowing I'm going to be okay, and convincing my mom that I'm going to be okay. Yeah. What kind of aides or assistants did you have on set? On set, so here, Chloe, who was the autism sensitivity coordinator on set, which is a role that we created together. It's autism consultant is usually the term used, but we, along with, the autistic producer on this project was Alex Plank. If anyone knows about Plank, he's the most incredible person. You want him working with autism whenever you can.
yeah, so we came together and we're like, I love that you're working on the project, but you're not going to be on set every day. I know I can call you in a second and you will make whatever happen. But if I have to do my job, it would be incredible to just have someone who could be on set and can look into and know, like, okay, this is what needs to be in place and take those measures for me. And a consultant, we always felt, is so easy to just say we don't have to listen to a consultant. They have very little power beyond they're saying this is what you should do, but it's not right. We're an autism sensitivity coordinator. Like we felt with that label, which came from intimacy coordinators, which started as a thing. We're like, can we steal that and make this like start building on this, and hopefully you can use it for other disabilities and other minorities to be like, this is ableist, this is problematic, you need this in place, or there's a real serious problem.
Was this your idea?
This was, my idea, her idea. Like the three of us came together and we're like, we decided, we really asked for this role, and we're very grateful that they were willing to have her on set.
I think it really made a difference.
And I did too, because like I worked on other projects where we didn't have that, and I paid out of pocket for an assistant, right? Which was the same role, but they were working for me and not the movie, and the movie didn't quite get the same understanding, right? So having this role, I think is important. I really hope to push to have this, because like, why do dogs get someone on set, right? And why does the horse get an advocate on set? What, right? Like, as a disabled person, a queer person, someone of some minority should be able to have someone. That's racist, right? You just stand in and yell at someone for you, right?
Say that.
Right?
Was this a period piece? Was this the 80s, 90s, or how was it positioned?
So the original script they wanted to do 90s, and so it has the essence of it, but we didn't have the budget to have the correct cars and the correct technology, the correct clothing. So it is modern day, but you get the feeling that it's like of it being that we try to not include technology and not include all that stuff.
Okay.
But
I want to go into what you feel this is a big takeaway. What's the big takeaway for, or what do you want people to get out of this particular film from an autistic standpoint, maybe even a grief standpoint?
Okay. So, just personally, my feeling, I think movies, you don't have to take anything away. I think just coming in, getting to escape your life and enjoy something is what they're for, right? But yeah, for this specific project and seeing it, I mean, there's so many things, and I think it's really based on what your identity is. I think for an autistic person, I just hope that you feel seen, you feel less alone, you feel like your story is being told and it's worth telling. I feel like as a parent, again, talking about that feeling that your child will be okay and there's a place for them in this world. And again, you're not alone. This is a story that you can, and then, outside the community, to just see into the disabled world, the autism world. There's other stories. We had a gay black man who hobby horse, right? To just see into these worlds that you don't personally experience and just like feel connected and feel like a little more understanding of people who are different.
Yeah, it really kind of brought you in. And the more people that get included and understand and see it, the more it becomes part of everyone's reality.
Yeah.
I was talking to a dear friend, and she was saying, talking about an artist and how focused the artist was, and how, and then the person in the room said, "Oh, he has a touch of autism." How does that make you feel to hear somebody describe autism that way?
So, I mean, there's mixed feelings. There isn't a little bit autistic. You're either autistic or not. There is a spectrum, and it manifests and shows itself and experiences very differently with every person, which is why the saying, if you met one person with autism, you met one person with autism.
That's
right?
It. Just one.
So that's where, like, but I do understand saying a touch of autism is sometimes a way for you to get through the world, if you have to say that without saying I'm autistic, so that you can be safe so you don't have to fully disclose. Like there's reasons I do understand, and then sometimes within the community we're just silly about it. Like we joke about we're topping up our autism when we get a vaccine.
Sure.
Right? Just double check it. I want to make sure. Right?
So it's not offensive to you?
It's no. Yeah. But I think it should be careful the way you say it, that if you don't have a diagnosis and you don't identify as autistic, to not say you have a touch of autism because you're a little bit quirky. That's not what it means. Like autism is a disability, and it has a lot of downsides and ableism and negative experiences to it, and positive ones as well. But stealing a label and using it as a little quirky thing, it's very uncomfortable for those of us that really experience it. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's such a range. Yeah. I'm the mother of 2 young men that are on the spectrum, and they present extremely differently. They see the world very differently. So I've had a unique experience as a parent, and knowing what this mother went through, too. You really, really nailed it. And you really did. It was very powerful.
Thank you.
I look forward to your trajectory as an actor. So I'd like to open the floor for questions. Does anyone have any questions? Any?
Yes. You look like a different size than in the film. I knew who you were from before, and you were sitting in front of me. Doesn't she look like a different size? Yeah. Really magic.
Yeah.
That was intentional, or the film does that?
A mixture of things. Like I was exercising very differently. It was very strength based on my legs, so I wasn't like I slimmed down differently with muscle since then. I've actually gained weight since the film, surprisingly. But yeah, a lot of it had to do with costuming. That they wanted these very specific stylized costumes that were very baggy, based on like she was very into like comfortable clothing. She was in a small town that didn't have access to a lot of things. A lot of things are hand-me-downs. Like it was very specific in that way. That just didn't flatter my body in the best way to show what its actual shape is.
Certain camera angles can make
camera adds 10 pounds, as they say.
Completely.
Like it really does. Yeah.
So
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm curious what your experience was as you went through elementary school. How did you present to school, and how did people respond to you as a student when you were young?
Okay, so it's really hard for me to answer specifics on autism because I was not diagnosed until I was 16. So my experience of it was I knew I didn't fit in. I knew I was missing something, and socializing was really hard, and I was judged very harshly. And for me personally, I thought I was a really bad person because no matter how hard I tried to be nice and sweet, people got mad at me. And I made people cry, and I didn't know why. I didn't have an answer for that, and I was just always having a breakdown and coming home and going, am I a bully? Am I a bad person? Why is everyone angry at me? Why do people break down in tears? But I was just that brutally honest version, but I presented like I do here, where people just didn't see the disability. And I was just unbelievably smart, and I understood concepts in school. I didn't struggle until middle school. So, like, they didn't have that learning disability side.
What made them look for the diagnosis at 16?
So, I was a very sick kid. I had Crohn's disease, which wasn't diagnosed until I was 10, was in children's hospital. so a lot of my struggles were hidden behind I was sick, and we could solve that. So then, like, reaching, like, 13-ish, I was at a healthy place, and I could go back to mainstream school. And we were starting to see the real struggles in the classroom and amongst friends. And I had a diagnosis of depression and anxiety disorder at this time. And when I was diagnosed, I didn't have the concept of understanding what that meant. And by this time, at reaching about 15, 16, I was now understanding, I'm like, what anxiety is, what depression was, and my friends also finally understood that diagnosis, and I was open about it and came to me and were like, Lillian, I know you're telling us that you're just like really depressed all the time and you have anxiety all the time, but we don't see it. You're a really bubbly, happy person who's like so brave and is always themselves and never seems to be worried about what anyone thinks, and what you're up there giving public speeches in front of the whole classroom, and you're never afraid to be wrong. You're like, we don't understand what this diagnosis is and like why you have this diagnosis.
And depression and anxiety are comorbidities.
They are,
and
but
autism typically has additional.
I didn't personally have it. What was happening was they thought was anxiety was me having a sensory overload.
Oh,
Exactly what?
Right?
sensory overload. There's too much going on.
So when you're autistic, big noises, bright lights, too many overlapping sensations cause your body to go into a fight or flight reaction, which looks very similar to anxiety if you don't know that's the cause of it. And so I was upset, and like I didn't like big crowds, and like I didn't want to go to the big group meetings, and I was like, and I would freak out and like, I need to leave. And people thought,
it physically hurt you.
Physically hurt me, yeah. So I was diagnosed as a small child, that's anxiety. When I didn't want to get out of bed, and like things were like manifesting in a way that seemed like depression, because I would stop talking and I would get small, right? And it was autism. It was something blocking my ability to use words and my ability to physically do things. So finally at 16, they were noticing that like all of these tools and stuff that should work for depression, anxiety weren't working. The medications, I kept switching every 2 years. None of it was working. So I had a teacher, a special education therapist that went to my mom and was like, I think you should look into autism. I, at the same time, was like reading books about depression and anxiety, and it led down a route of like other things that it could be. And I found this book in my special education classroom. At the time, it was all cats have Asperger's, but that is now changed to all cats are on the spectrum. I read that book, and just like every page was like a description of autism. It was like me. So at 16, I finally, me and my mom, and we went and got an official diagnosis, and it just, it was such a relief, and it gave me such answers to life.
Like relief. Yeah. Wow.
Yes. So what brought you to acting? Was there a specific person in your life that introduced you to acting, and then being drawn to acting, how did that sort of affect how you presented yourself in the world?
So, again, it came with, I didn't fully understand it at the time, but now looking back, I got into acting about 5 years old, and it was a summer camp that had like all the different activities, and I found, I knew already that I struggled socially, but I also learned when I made someone cry or made someone angry or feel some sort of strong emotion, I couldn't ask them in that moment because it made it worse to go, why are you crying? What's wrong? Why is your face doing that? Like you can't do that. But in acting, I was able to ask all of those questions. I was able to learn body language, facial expressions, and ask when we're breaking down scenes, why does this character do that? Why is this character not allowed to say that? Right? And I got, it was a tool for me to learn how to socialize in the real world.
You could act like the characters that you didn't understand naturally. You could create that story.
Yeah, and so,
But it answers your curiosity
yeah,
about in a very safe space.
in a very safe space. And I happened to find someone who, again, I didn't have the diagnosis of autism, but I had, I was a very sick kid, was in the hospital, and he was like working through all of that. And he saw my differences, but he was like, you love acting, and I'm gonna work with you. And he made me feel very safe, and like he protected me from the other kids. And yeah, it was a beautiful space that I still recommend him. He's an incredible guy, and I send people who experience the world differently to him. And
Absolutely.
He's an incredible. I'm so happy I found him. Yeah, so then as a career differently, I actually had no plans at all for it to be a career. It was a tool. It was something I enjoyed as a hobby, and I was in college to become a biologist. That was what I wanted to do with my life. A job coach came to me because I was in a transitional program for autism, and was like, I know you did theater in your youth, and I just wanted to let you know about this opportunity that this TV show is casting autistic actors for an autistic role, and if you want to audition, I can get you the audition. And I just went, no, I don't want to do that. I want to be a scientist. And she's like, okay, but just take the flyer in case you change your mind. I went home. My sister, who was in film school, and my mom saw the flyer, and they're like, what is this? And I was like, oh, it's this TV show that's auditioning autistic people. And they're like, well, are you going to do it? I'm like, no. They're like, you're going to do it. We've seen you act. You're a phenomenal actor. Like, why not?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. Wasn't really like, you're going to do it. My sister filmed my tape, sent it in. The very next week, I was reading for Network, and I booked a TV show.
You booked it.
I booked it.
Without an agent, without a manager.
Wouldn't do that, nothing.
Nothing.
I didn't have a headshot, okay? I didn't know what I was doing.
That's the best way to
And
book
it's
it.
like straight up what I told them when they gave me the role. I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
Well, now
Are you sure I can do this? They're like, you can do this.
You now know you can.
I now know I can do this. I was still delusional at that point. I was like, we film in the summer. I could go to college and make a little money on the side, and then this will be a great story when I'm a scientist to tell people I was on a TV show once. So we filmed it, and like a month later, I got a call from Warner Brothers. We're casting a movie, and we're looking for autistic actors. Who told you about me?
Wow.
Someone did. So do you want to audition? Well, okay. I'm not gonna say no this time.
So it begins. The
And
journey.
so this kind of like I auditioned, and they asked me about my experience, and like they're like, but you don't have a headshot, you don't have a manager, you don't have. I'm like, well, I'm not an actress. They're like, you are an actress.
How
And
long
that
did it take for you to own that?
and it was after that audition is they literally called up an agent and were like, sign her. And they've been my mentor ever since.
You know, that's a dream.
It's a huge
Yes, I know.
It's the
This is like
ultimate
people
dream.
dream about this forever, and I was like,
Yes.
I was forced into it. You know, I'm a very happy dream I'm living. I'm not saying like I'm very unhappy with it. I'm like, but I think it was also a good thing that it wasn't a dream because with every part I've been given, because it's not been a dream of mine, I have been very harsh of like, if you don't remove this, I'm not doing it.
Oh, that's
Right?
so powerful. To be able
If
to-
you have any association with this program that I don't like, I'm not doing it.
Mhm.
And that has changed the projects I've been in a lot. and it's made a big change in the industry. Like I said, like I've been pushing
So they've been
for,
talking
to
about you.
have
and they-
someone on
yeah,
set to
yeah.
and pushing. I was like, I want Alex Blake as a producer. Get him on.
Fantastic. That's so powerful.
And I think it's opened more doors for people because I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to be blacklisted. I'm willing to lose the parts to make a change. Right?
This is clearly
Well,
like
that's so
a meant to be
wonderful.
path, right?
Yes.
Like that meant to be.
Yeah, it felt like that. That like I think back and like, could I have cured cancer? Could I have done something in the science industry? Maybe.
You're still young enough.
But this seemed to be the path that
Yes.
whatever the universe wanted me to do was this.
Yes.
I helped a little bit.
You helped Lillian. She's my sister. My twin sister was in film school, and was and I'm very grateful that she knew all the film stuff to help
This
me
is your
with it.
sister?
Yes, this is my we're identical twins. We're both autistic.
Oh,
Which
wow.
all-
Fantastic.
Which-
I knew a little bit what you were supposed to do.
Yeah. Which is also like she went to film school, and then I got into film, and she has been riding my coattails in the best way ever. And she's currently working with speech and language pathologists in science field right
Oh,
now.
fantastic.
So-
That's beautiful.
And I knew that.
Wow.
Interesting.
Any more questions?
Those of us of a certain age, I think,
Yeah.
maybe I'm just speaking for myself. I remember growing up with kids in elementary school. Autism wasn't a word yet. I'm sorry, but we call them quirky, okay? And I'm wondering, since it is this big umbrella, you seem to find it liberating rather than limiting.
Yes.
But having experience now with many people who are ADHD, who have depression, who have anxiety, if everyone with all those things fits under that umbrella, it's just about everybody, I think. No?
Well, everybody is on the spectrum. It's to what degree? Everybody. It's to what degree? Yes.
I mean, yes, everyone experiences the world a little different, and everyone has struggles and strengths. I think when it becomes a disability
Yes.
and it affects your life deeply,
Mhm.
then it is a different, and that label is necessary. And to what extreme disability is to each person, I think is something to talk about because, yes, socializing is a struggle for me, but for other people, like, they can't even talk.
They can't talk.
And
they can't
so
look at
to
you.
compare myself to them on the spectrum
Yeah.
is quite a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
But in the same vein, there's people that can be CEOs on the spectrum,
Oh,
but
completely.
but would burn their house down if they had to cook, right?
Yeah, okay,
Like,
yeah, completely.
So where does disability fall? And like when you become a millionaire, does disability even matter because you can pay for
Help.
all the help you need, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I think it's important to talk about like that. Yeah, there's people that experience mild versions of this or extreme versions of one aspect of autism. But I think even if you don't identify with the label, knowing that the autism label is out there and creating resources and creating a difference in the world to make it easier for those people with smaller challenges to be able to access support for those things.
Absolutely.
Because I'm of the opinion that once those resources are available, anyone who wants access to them should have access
Completely.
to them. And I think this world, it's still too stigmatizing
It is.
for people to just seek these kind of supports because they're lazy, right? That we are heavily judged for seeking any kind of support in the world. In the way that a movie like this shows that seeking support is okay, I think Margarita would not be accepted equally by society. She'd be very judged for hobby horsing with a bunch of high schoolers.
Yes.
She'd be heavily judged for that she's only capable of working menial labor, right?
Completely. It's
and for
such a
not
challenge.
being able to work a microwave, right?
And they never know how to like.
We never. I don't like. We all
Certainly.
embrace her here in this room, but how many people would actually come in and support someone like her in their life? How many people? How many of you have seen this and like done something? Very few, unless it's someone in your immediate family,
Yes.
actually do that. And I think it's important to think about and to have movies like this that show this, but I don't know how much that will change soon. But I hope
have to keep making more movies, making more room, opening
that
the lane
seeing
even
this
more.
makes it more acceptable and makes more people willing to ask for help as well.
And the more you expose what it is, the more opportunity, the more people that are open to it,
And
or
I
the
think,
opportunity for it.
one of the biggest things that I've heard about this is like, this has been compared to the Karate Kid story. And I think it is. It's the Karate Kid story, but she doesn't win. Right? Like, Coach is Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
But he's not magic. He's not going to make you the best at it.
Yeah.
But he gave her a place to belong.
Yeah.
He gave her,
He gave her.
And she, in return, gave him a little hope that the world can be better, right? And I think this is more of everyone's story. No one becomes number one and is the best Karate Kid in the world in a week because they met a Mr. Miyagi. But I think a lot of people find a coach and find a group of ragtag people that they can feel like they belong in some quirky activity that they all love together, right?
Absolutely. What an absolute. Anyone else? Yes.
I just want to thank you not only for the film, but your talkback, your level of articulateness and insight is really a gift to us. There's no way, even those of us who have an interest in this, could ever understand without hearing you in particular. I mean, obviously you're a brilliant person, but the way that you have been able to explain this to us, I think will really, really go a long way to at least motivating us to be more involved. So I thank you.
I appreciate that.
Yes. You put a face on it to people and open people up to what autism, or the beauty of autism. Not just because she's beautiful, but because she's brilliantly beautiful.
And I think it's important to talk about these like generational differences. Because, I've had a grandfather who, after I was diagnosed, felt that he was like, I don't know why, he was very angry at my mom and dad for seeking that diagnosis. He said, there's nothing wrong with my grandchild. I love my grandchild. She's amazing. She's incredible. I don't know why you're looking into this. And I got diagnosed, and the change he saw in me and the supports we were able to get. And he broke down crying one day. I've never seen him cry before. And he said, I gave you this. I've had this my whole life, and I could never admit it. I could never get help.
Well, there wasn't help for him.
No, it's in his life that, like, if he did, as a child at the same age, tell people that, I think he would have just been put in a home.
Yeah.
Would have just been isolated and just, like, I don't know what kind of care that home would have even given him. And I understand that he struggled and white-knuckled and figured out a way through life in a way that I am gifted not to have to. And I'm so glad to have had him in my life as an example to teach me all the tools that he learned through struggling through it. And I think it's important to see that change. And there's been this whole thing about this epidemic of autism. I mean, like, but my grandfather, for example, could not get diagnosed. And I think the amount of people that are getting diagnosed in their 40s and 50s and 70s now because it is acceptable.
I think it's 1 in 45
Yeah.
as adults getting it, 1 in
And-
39 as children, but 1 in 45 people will be
One
diagnosed.
is
And-
what you.
So I
1 in
think that
28 New Jersey.
that is the biggest reason for
Yes.
the diagnosis. Parents are okay with getting a diagnosis for their child. People in their 40s are okay with getting a diagnosis for themselves that wouldn't have been able to. So,
When you understand the power in getting a diagnosis
Yeah.
and getting the support that's required and the help, particularly in states like New Jersey, not across the country, but in certain states, you do have access to a lot more
Yeah.
support.
a
Which is
story like this 5 years ago would not have been
No.
an autistic actress in it,
They would have had someone interpret it.
right?
Yeah.
A story like this 10 years ago, they would have removed the autism,
Wow.
right?
Yes, completely. Wow.
So I think it's amazing how far we are moving, how fast we are moving to a better place. But
Well, as a mother, I definitely want a place where the bubble includes everyone, but particularly my boys, and a place where they can
about
be normal.
six-ish years ago, my TV show Everything's Gonna Be Okay aired, and it was the first show to authentically cast from lead to background autistic characters. Every autistic character was played by an autistic actor.
Wow.
First time
Wow.
that a show did that.
How
fully.
many seasons?
It was 2 seasons, and I think we had 4 main characters and a few side characters with autism. And that
Did you have the supports on set that you had in Rosie, or they didn't have the support?
they
yet?
didn't have that. I actually was the person to provide a lot of support to some of the other actors. Again, at the time, we were all scared to ask for that and lose the part to neurotypical people because network didn't want us cast. We had a showrunner that said he wouldn't do the show without casting autistic acters, and we are so
Wow.
grateful for
Yes,
this showrunner.
yes.
And he pushed so hard,
Yeah.
and he personally thought we did a better job at the auditions, and thought we were like, and he every step of the way. So we were very careful about how
Sure.
much we're asking. We're asking for a lot more because it's been done, and we're at a place that we feel like you should not go back. We've proven from multiple TV shows now that it's possible, and now this movie, and there's been a couple other movies where it's authentic cast, and we've been leads of movies and TV shows. So you should be able to find someone capable of doing this. And I think that should move beyond TV shows, and you should be an autistic person, seeks out a job. Assume them capable. Why are they seeking out that job if they don't think they are capable? Find them the accommodations they need to make it possible to do a job. The unemployment rate in autism, I think, is the highest of most disabilities. And when we talk unemployment rate, that is people seeking a job. Okay? And I think we're in between 80 and 90% unemployment rate. 60% underemployment rate for those that are employed, that have masters and doctorates but are doing menial labor jobs because they can't move up in the industry.
They don't
And
have
it
the
is
supports on the jobs to
a
help
really tough thing for our community
It's
to
very
find
tough.
employment. So movies and TV shows and stories like this that show she's capable of a job and good at a job, I think is really, really important to show, even though that wasn't the main highlight of the story. We really wanted to show that her not wanting a job was the reason she didn't have a job, right?
And
that
that
she
was
was
very
capable
clear.
of it.
Yes, it was very clear.
Yeah.
Yes.
And her mother backed her up on that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was amazing, because we live in this world, in this autism world, and we see parents denying the opportunity because they think that they can't.
They enable the disability and they keep them
So
at
that's
home.
something that is, I feel this story also really showed that the mother was able to let go, and she allowed
Well, she knew her time was of the essence, so she was just looking forward to her daughter being able to be independent and take care of herself.
Yeah.
And that was the beauty of the film, because you want your children, everybody wants their children independent, whether they're neurotypical or not, whether they're autistic or not. And the more independent makes the parents really successful. So when your daughter, when they're living on their own and acting and making a living, can't beat that. It's the best thing in the world.
Very aspirational.
I feel
Really
honored
is.
that I'm capable of it and it's happening in my lifetime, but it should have happened so much sooner. I shouldn't be a first. I shouldn't be groundbreaking,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's insane that I'm the one doing it this far into Hollywood, this far into.
Well, you were meant to do it. You have more to do. There's
Yeah.
a message in that.
But I want this normalized. I want this to like just
Well,
happen on
that's
screen
part of the
and you not
message.
even think about it.
Absolutely.
Right? I want
want it
so many more
normalized,
of
too.
us up there doing that. I want you to go into a grocery store and see us working there and think we're capable. I want you to go, like, I want us to be doctors. I want us to be lawyers. I want us, like, whatever, teachers. Whatever we want to do, it should be normalized to see disabled people, whether it's mentally or physically, whatever, doing things.
Living out
And
their best life.